single phase control rectifiers. Here is a quick classification of control rectifiers. Both single phase and three phase control rectifiers or converters can be divided into three categories: semi-converter, full converter, and dual converter. In case of a semi-converter, both the output voltage and current is positive. In full converter, output voltage can be both positive and negative, and output current is only positive. In case of a dual converter, both the voltage and current can be positive and negative. So here is a circuit diagram of single phase half wave control rectifier with a resistive load. So in this circuit, the thyristor will conduct only for the first half cycle, and for the second half cycle it will be reverse biased. So we will only get output for the positive half cycle, and since the thyristor can be controlled by a gate signal, the output voltage will start after the gate pulse. As it is a resistive load, both the waveforms of voltage and currents will be similar, and as voltage and current is positive, it is in quadrant 1 operation, or it is a semi-converter. This is the extended waveform of the previous waveform diagram. We are going to derive the average voltage and RMS voltage of this waveform. Since it is a symmetrical waveform or DC waveform, this pattern is repeating after every twice pi. So here T is twice pi. So if we derive the formula for average voltage, it will be something like this: 1 by T. So lower limit to upper limit, here lower limit is alpha and upper limit is pi, and the equation of the waveform. This gives us the final formula for DC waveform. If alpha equals 0, we will get the maximum value of this DC signal. So it is the ratio of the DC voltage with respect to the maximum DC voltage. This is the formula for calculating RMS voltage. Again here T is twice pi, and lower limit is alpha and upper limit is pi. So with this simple equation we can derive the formulas for DC voltage and RMS voltage of a single phase half wave control rectifier. In case of an inductive load, the current or the output current will lag the output voltage. So the wave shape of output current will be something like this. This current will become 0 after the output voltage becomes 0. So the thyristor will be turned on during this period. As we have learned earlier, the thyristor can only be turned off by reducing its current below holding current. So the thyristor will become on in this period. So the voltage waveform becomes negative after this point. So we will get a positive voltage and a negative voltage, but a positive current in case of an RL load. So if we want to derive the formula, the range of integration will be from alpha to pi and pi to pi plus beta. Since this delay angle is called beta. So if we go back to our main slide, this is the formula for deriving the DC voltage and RMS voltage of a half-wave rectifier with inductive load. So just the limit will change and it will be from alpha to pi plus beta. So alpha to pi plus beta. But if we introduce a freewheeling diode, the negative portion of the voltage waveform will be removed. As you can recall, this is a rectifier circuit. So if the voltage is positive, then the diode is reverse biased, and if the voltage becomes negative, the diode will be forward biased. So the diode will chop off the negative portion of the voltage waveform. So this freewheeling diode is very useful in case of a highly inductive load. This is an example from the book. So in this example, resistive load is connected to the single phase half wave control rectifier circuit with a delay angle of pi by 2. So we have to determine the rectification efficiency, form factor, ripple factor, transformer utilization factor, and peak inverse voltage. From equation 2-44, we have the formula for rectification efficiency, which is PDC divided by PSC. If the value of DC component is greater, the rectification efficiency will be higher. So in this case, as it is a resistive load, we can calculate the PDC or PSC simply by using V square by R formula. And again, as it is a half wave rectified output, we can derive the DC voltage and RMS voltage from equation 4-1 and 4-4. So this is the same formula from the book. So if we put the known values in this equation, we will get the value of VDC and VRMS with respect to VM, since we don't know the value of VM. Next, from equation 2-46, form factor equal VRMS by VDC. So it is essentially the ratio of AC voltage and DC voltage. If the rectification efficiency is higher, then the form factor will be lower. A high value of form factor indicates a high value of AC component. So we can easily get the value of form factor from our given numbers. The equation of ripple factor is like this. So if we know the form factor, we can get the ripple factor. Now here comes the tricky part, the transformer utilization factor. It is denoted by PDC by VSIS. If the value of DC component is greater, the value of transformer utilization factor is greater. Earlier we have derived the formula for PDC, which is VDC square by R. So we know PDC, but what about VSIS? So VSIS is the transformer secondary voltage and current. Since it is related to transformer, it will be an AC value, not DC value. So in case of a current, this transformer secondary current is in series with the load current. So we can derive this secondary current as our load RMS current. But in case of a voltage, this voltage and this output voltage are not the same. We will get voltage in the secondary side for both positive and negative half cycle. But for the load, we will get voltage for the positive half cycle only. So for the secondary voltage, we have the RMS value of the full cycle, and for the load side we have the RMS voltage of half cycle only. So again, the transformer secondary voltage and current will be VSIS. So if we put these values in this equation, we will have the transformer utilization factor. The last one is peak inverse voltage. So this is obviously the maximum voltage of this waveform, which is Vn. The thyristor must block this Vn in order to block the reverse bias cycle or second half cycle. Semi-converters. So a single phase semi-converter circuit can be composed of a bridge rectifier circuit. So it can either be composed with 2 diodes and 2 thyristors or 4 thyristors. So if a freewheeling diode is provided, the output voltage will never be negative. So this is a quadrant 1 operation or semi-converter operation. So if we provide a single phase AC voltage as input, if the triggering angle or firing angle is alpha, the subsequent firing angle will be pi plus alpha. So for the first half cycle, if we trigger T1, the current will flow through T1 through the load and through D2. So in case of first half cycle, both T1 and D2 will be on in this section. For negative half cycle, we have to trigger T2. So the current will go through T2 and load and get back to the source by D1. So in negative half cycle, T2 and D1 will be turned on. As the output is highly inductive, the output current will be continuous. So T1 and D2 will be turned on from alpha to pi, and T2 and D1 will be turned on from pi plus alpha to twice pi. They will be turned on for the same duration of the output voltage. But after this period, no transistor or diodes will be conducting. So the remaining current will be flowing through this freewheeling diode in this duration. So if we get back to the freewheeling diode conduction cycle, it will be something like this. So the freewheeling diode will conduct whenever the transistors or thyristors or diodes are off. So the overall output current will be continuous. This is the waveform of transformer secondary current. The transformer secondary current will only flow when the thyristors and diodes are on. So the transformer secondary waveform, current waveform, will be something like that. Since transformer is carrying an AC current, this transformer secondary current will be alternating. So for the first half cycle, the current will be in this direction, and for the second half cycle, the current will be this direction. So it will be an AC current. Again, for this circuit, we can also derive the RMS voltage and DC voltage from this curve. So if we go back to our first diagram, this will be like that, and the gap between two consecutive pattern is pi. So in case of a t, we will put pi, and if we put the lower limit and upper limit to alpha and pi respectively, we will get this simple 4-5 equation. Again, we will get the normalized value by dividing VDC by VDC max, and again for RMS value we will get the RMS value from these equations. So this waveform is a bit problematic since it is a square wave, not pure sine wave or sine wave. It will contain a high level of harmonics, and since a high level of harmonics will create a high level of loss, we must avoid this type of wave shapes either by filtering out or changing the inductive load. In example 4-2 from page 82 in the soft copy of the book, here is a simplified version of this example. In this example, a 120 volt supply is provided. The load current is continuous as it is an inductive load, and this example is for this circuit. So we have to express the input current in Fourier series. The input current is the transformer secondary current, which is AC and square wave. We have to express this waveform in Fourier series. Then we have to find the harmonic factor, displacement factor, and input power factor of this waveform. And if alpha or firing angle is pi by 2, we need to calculate the values for VDC, normalized VDC, VRMS, harmonic factor, displacement factor, and power factor of this waveform. To start with, this is the final expression of the Fourier series of this waveform, but we have to find these values In and phi n. So In can be derived from this formula, and if we put An and Bn to this equation, we will finally have the formula for In. So the In is the RMS value of nth harmonic component. The phi n is the frequency component, which can be derived from this formula, and the final derivation is this. So if we put the value of In and phi n in this equation, we will have the answer for the first question. But keep something in mind, that this equation, or this An and Bn, these are the coefficients of Fourier series. So these are only applicable for odd harmonics. For even harmonics, this will be reduced to 0. So we have to put the value of n to the odd harmonics. So next we have to find the harmonic factor. The equation of harmonic factor is this. So if we put the value of Is and I1, we will get something like this. So what is Is? Is is the total RMS current, and I1 is the RMS value of fundamental component. So we can get this RMS current from this RMS formula of the wave shape. and we can get the value of I1 or the RMS value of fundamental component by putting 1 instead of n. So if we put these values in this formula, we will get something like this. Again, for displacement factor, this is the equation for displacement factor, and this is the equation for power factor. If alpha equal pi by 2 and Vm equal root 2 times RMS voltage, we can get VDC and VRMS from equation 4-5 to 4-7 that we have derived earlier. These are the same equations. So if we get back to our problem, we can easily determine the values for VDC, VRMS or normalized VDC, as both the value of Vm and alpha is provided. Now if we want to derive the value of harmonic factor, displacement factor and power factor, we can easily do that by putting the value of alpha in these equations. So in these equations, only variable unknown is alpha. So if we put the value of alpha in these three equations, we will get the value of these harmonic factor, displacement factor and power factor for alpha equal pi by 2. So harmonic factor is the measure of the portion of harmonic content in the signal. So if there is more harmonics, the value of harmonic factor will increase. The displacement factor is the separation of different harmonic frequencies. So this is the basic formula we have learned in intermediate classes. So these are the detailed derivations of phi n, In, HF and PF. So you can pause the video and take a look at the derivations if you are interested. So to sum up this example, in order to express this waveform in a Fourier series, we have to remember this formula and this formula as well. But this value In can be derived very easily. So this is the derivation of In. So this is a very easy derivation. So once we have In and phi n, we can get the value of this expression. Again, we have to remember the formula. These are basic formulas for a Fourier series. So we have to remember these first two terms. So once we put all the values in our first expression, we are done with this Fourier series expression. So next, the harmonic factor. We have to remember this formula, but from this formula to this detail, you can find it here. So this is also an easy derivation. So same goes for power factor and displacement factor as well. So in order to derive the harmonic factor formula, we need the value of Is and I1. So Is is the RMS value of the current, so that includes the fundamental and the harmonic components. The RMS value of fundamental component is I1. This only contains the fundamental component, not harmonic components. So this Is can be derived simply from this waveform using the RMS formula. So the time period is pi, so 1 by pi or 2 by twice pi, these are same things, and the limit is alpha to pi, and the value of waveform is Ia. The value of waveform is Ia. So this is the simple RMS formula of Is. So the basics of Fourier series can be understood from here. So this is the circuit diagram of a single phase full converter. So in this case, a freewheeling diode is absent, so the voltage will go below zero to the negative portion. So we will have a output voltage of both positive and negative polarity and output current of only positive polarity. So in case of this full converter, the current waveform will be a little bit different. So if we compare it with the previous diagram, the waveform was from alpha to pi, but in this case it will be from alpha to pi plus alpha, and then again pi plus alpha to twice pi plus alpha. So if you want to repeat the previous example for this circuit, the only change will be these limits. So you can do the math, example 4-3, in the similar way. So here alpha equal pi by 2, the given firing angle, and the result will be a bit different, but the process is the same as the example 4-2. So this ends our lectures on single phase controlled rectifier.